Adele came to this unique world in a way that was quite unusual for her. The girl had an accident and fell off a cliff. It happened right after the final exam at school. When the girl woke up, she realized that she was in the body of a fox. After studying the new world, Adele learned that if she develops, she will eventually be able to turn into a human fox. Then she would have the opportunity to return to her world. One day, while walking through the imperial residence, Adele ran into a prince. She already knew that his reputation was quite bad. He was often called vicious and cruel. "How can you be a fox so fat? And where did your neck go?" muttered the prince, scrutinizing the animal. "Hey, you can't call me fat. Don't you dare say that. And it offends me to hear that I don't have a neck. I just have this balloon-shaped figure. It's not my fault." Annoyed, Adele thought. "It's a completely useless animal. Find out its origin. If you don't find anything, or it turns out to be an ordinary beast, then just kill it," ordered the prince and tossed the fox aside. Duan, the prince's assistant, managed to catch the animal before it fell to the ground. "That's it! I've had enough! I'm sick of surviving in this unaccustomed world. How many times? Why does everyone want to kill me? Why do they all think I can't fight back?" Adele jumped from Duan's arms and rushed over to the prince. "Look, she's funny after all," said the prince again, grabbing the vixen by the scruff of the neck. "She's looking at me so mean, like she understands what I'm saying." The prince poked a finger into the fox's soft cheek. "Your Highness, since this fox is so intelligent, I dare say it is from the clan of Divine Faces," said Duan. "You're saying that she might belong to the Divine Foxes? That's extremely curious. Then wash her and bring her to me," ordered the prince. "You're in luck. You are the first animal that survived after meeting His Highness," mumbled Duan, tightly cradling the vixen in his arms. "That's a good sign. It means His Highness really liked you. You can count on his protection in the future." "And what good is it that such a heartless man likes me? All right, I really hope that being in the imperial palace, at least I'll be able to eat enough. I won't have to steal anymore," Adele thought to herself. "In any case, this situation isn't so bad. After all, I will now be able to absorb the prince's spiritual energy without any problems. I need it to regain my human form. Without spiritual energy, I'll still be a fox." "Mr. Duan, did you call me to serve His Highness?" the pretty girl asked. "No, His Highness picked up this fox in his garden today. He asks me to bathe it," replied Duan. The girl looked angrily at the fox. "Why is that girl staring at me like that? What is it that she doesn't like me already?" Adele wondered. Although the girl was not thrilled about having to bathe the fox, she still complied with the prince's orders. The clean animal was handed into the prince's hands. "How wonderful! As soon as he touches me, I can immediately feel his spiritual energy filling my body," Adele thought blissfully. Two servant girls entered the room. They began to set the table. "Your Highness, this little fox cub hasn't eaten anything yet. Should we feed him?" one of the maids asked. The prince gave permission to bring the fox one chicken. "Watch your manners. How do you have to get so dirty while eating?" said the prince and took a white napkin and wiped the fox's mouth. "You saw His Highness is raising the vixen as his daughter. We will need to pay more attention to her in the future." In a quiet whisper, the maid said to Duan, "Her name was Gina. She was one of the few who treated the fox well." After lunch, the prince went to his study. He took the fox with him. Curled up, Adele fell sound asleep. Adele saw herself as if from the outside. She was lying on her bed. Her parents were sitting next to her. The girl wanted to hug her relatives, but she walked through them. She started to call out to them, but they didn't hear her. "Silly fox, why are you crying? This is the first time I've ever seen an animal cry in its sleep," whispered the prince. "Mommy, Daddy, I miss you very much," Adele thought wistfully. She really wanted to go back to her world, to her parents. She wanted to move on with her life. She had many plans for the future. "Am I hallucinating? Just now I heard someone addressing my father." Surprised, the prince thought. "I have to think about how to get home. I can't let my parents grow old alone. so I must find a way that will allow me to improve my characteristics and regain my human body. Adele decided to herself. Your tears are absolutely everywhere right now. It's unpleasant. You look dirty, grumbled the prince. A maid entered the room and alerted the prince that General Eugene Wong had arrived. The prince asked the maid for the girl to bathe the fox again. He also forbade giving the animal chicken feet for dinner. "How could you come back? I thought you died on the battlefield," said the prince as soon as the general crossed the threshold of his office. "I barely crossed the threshold. You're already trying to jinx me," grumbled the general. "It is very interesting who this general is. I want to learn as much about him as I can so I know what I should expect from him." Adele thought to herself, Eugene Wong is a great general. He is one of those who went to war together with His Highness. You could say they are brothers for going through fire and death together, narrated Gina, as if reading Adele's thoughts. Later, His Highness returned to the palace and became regent, while the general stayed at the border to defend our country from enemies. It is said that His Highness is known for his cruelty and cunning thanks in part to the general. I heard that you recently brought back some books and eyeballs of the enemies, of which you made an appetizer and presented it to our emperor, said the prince to General Eugene Wong. "Have you been told about this yet?" asked the general. "Of course I was told about it, for you signed your appetizer as a gift from Prince Richard," murmured the prince. "I knew you didn't like our emperor, so I decided to play a joke on him. But if you didn't like my surprise for the emperor, then I promise you that it won't happen again," said the general and laughed loudly. "Ah, yes, I came here for a reason, didn't I? I found out that you have a new pet. I came here to look at it. They say it's a nice fluffy fox, so where are you hiding it?" "I've noticed that lately you've been completely unconcerned about the defense of our border, but you came here to see my pet. Don't you think you're getting your priorities wrong?" the prince asked in an angry tone. "The borders have been very calm lately. I see no cause for concern," replied the general. He didn't understand the prince's reaction. Nothing would happen if he saw his pet, right? "Be careful with Edwin Hodge. If you develop any problems with him, you can do away with him. I give you permission to do so," said the prince. "And why is it that all of a sudden you are talking about him? Do you have some suspicions?" asked Eugene. "His mother is a Southerner because of the Simeon family. Don't you find that suspicious?" inquired the prince. Eugene promised him that he would definitely send a spy to find out more details. "Your Highness, the vixen has been thoroughly washed," announced Gina, who entered the room. "Well then, crybaby, come to me," ordered the prince. "I'm not a crybaby," annoyed Adele thought, and jumped on the prince's desk. "That fox is very cute. There's a reason you decided to keep her. She's just adorable," admired General Eugene. "Look, crybaby, I drew you." Richard showed the fox his drawing. Adele marveled at the prince's talent. The drawing turned out colorful and extremely natural. The fox depicted really looked a lot like Adele. "Richard, you forgot to draw her birthmark on the fox's ear. You noticed it resembles a star, didn't you?" The general pointed his finger at the flaws in the drawing. The prince ordered Gina to bring Duan to him. "Your Highness, this is the mark of the Fox clan, signifying spiritual power. We have few records of it. Unfortunately, I don't know what it means," said Duan after studying the Fox clan's birthmark. "It's a good thing these guys don't have any records of this animal species. Otherwise, if they knew it was the symbol of the royal family, I'd be dead. How hard it is to be such a special fox in this world," Adele thought to herself. Adele began to scrutinize the prince's face. She liked his dark gray eyes and thin lips. The girl decided that he probably had a nice body. If he lived in the modern world, he would definitely be a popular actor or singer. The prince slapped the tip of the tassel on the fox's forehead. "Fox, something you're looking at me with a very suspicious look. What are you thinking?" asked the prince. "Weren't you born this way just to be looked at by humans? What a harmful person you are, after all." Adele mentally addressed the prince. Suddenly, Adele heard some pleasant scent. The maids came into the prince's study again with food. It was time for dinner. "Oh, look at that. They brought a whole chicken again. I hope I get a leg after all." Adele rejoiced. "What a glutton you are after all. No wonder you look more like a balloon than a fox," the prince said reproachfully. "Still, the prince is right. I have gained a few extra pounds. And if I suddenly get my body back, what will I look like? What if my parents don't recognize me?" Adele wondered. "Eat," the prince said briefly and handed the fox a plate of chicken. Adele swung her paws around. She was determined to go on a diet from this day forward. "I told you to eat." Shifting his eyebrows angrily across the bridge of his nose, the prince spoke. Adele had to obey. She ate the whole chicken again. "After dinner, you got dirty again. Since I don't want to bother Gina anymore, you'll have to bathe with me now," said the prince, and taking the vixen in his arms, he carried her to his bathroom. Entering the bathroom, the prince threw the fox into the water. Unable to move, Adele began to slowly sink to the bottom. The prince realized that the vixen had no intention of swimming, so he pulled her out of the water. "If you give me any more trouble, I'll drown you in this bathtub," warned the prince. Richard pulled the vixen out of the water and laid it on the edge of the tub. Watching the prince, Adele noted to herself that just as she thought, he had quite a nice body. "Come here to me. I'll help you wash today." The prince held out his hand to the vixen. The prince dipped the vixen in the water and began to gently rub its small body. Adele tried not to think about what was happening. She didn't want to believe that this was really happening. This whole situation seemed extremely embarrassing to her. After the vixen was washed, Gina decided to take it to the prince's room to dry it thoroughly. "You are such an obedient vixen that even His Highness has taken a liking to you. This is the first time he's ever let an animal in his room," noted Gina. Looking around the prince's room, Adele noticed a vase standing on the table. The girl figured she could sell it for a few thousand gold coins. "I don't want to stay in His Highness's house forever. I'm not sure it will end well. Yes, he's treating me well today, but will it continue to be like this? I need to find a way to get out of here. This vase will help me live for a while without thinking about money." Adele wanted to drag the vase to the window, but it was too heavy. Suddenly, Adele stumbled and fell from the table to the floor. The prince who entered managed to pick up the animal. "I've only been away from you for a few minutes, and you've already made a mess of things," Richard grumbled. Adele decided to herself, the prince wasn't as bad as she thought he was at first. The girl clung tightly to the prince's chest. The prince sat the vixen down on a large, soft pillow that lay next to his bed. Adele jumped onto the prince's bed. She didn't want to sleep on an uncomfortable pillow. She liked the bed better. "And you have good taste. So since you don't want to sleep on the pillow, you'll sleep with me," said the prince and threw off his outer clothes. Curling up, Adele fell asleep on the prince's shoulder. Waking up in the early morning, Adele stretched sweetly. It had been a long time since she had slept so well. "You stinking fox! How can you be lounging on His Highness's bed?" Sharon, the maid who had entered the prince's room, shouted. "Die, you shameless animal!" screamed the girl, swinging over the fox. The prince who entered the room pushed the girl away from the fox. "What insolence! How can you enter my room without asking, so also touch things that belong to me?" said the prince, angrily glaring at the girl with his eyes. "That servant deserves to die. The servant didn't know that this animal belonged to His Highness. I just wanted to chase her off your bed," wailed Sharon, falling to her knees in front of the prince. "Shut up. It's not up to you to decide whether a fox is allowed to climb on my bed or not. You are being punished. You are not allowed to enter my room from now on," Richard exclaimed in a loud voice. "Thank you for your mercy, Your Highness," mumbled Sharon and ran out of the prince's room. "You must be hungry by now. Well, let's go eat. Even though you're going to look like a little pig soon, you still look extremely cute." The prince took the vixen in his arms and went with her to the dining room. On his way to the dining room, Richard ran into Gina. The girl told the prince that the Minister of Education wanted to meet with him. He was expecting His Highness in the study room. "Feed her, and then don't forget to wash her," ordered the prince and gave the vixen to Gina. "It's hard being a prince after all. He doesn't even have time to eat," Adele thought to herself. Still, I'm very lucky. The food at the prince's residence is very good. When I have to leave this place one day, I'll miss it. Maybe I should pick some flowers for the prince? After all, he shelters me in his house and feeds me deliciously. Since Adele couldn't give the prince an ordinary bouquet, she wanted to find some strange, outlandish flowers. At the back of the garden, Adele found a black, rather unusual flower. She had never seen one like it before. Adele walked up to the flower and inhaled its fragrance. The smell of the flower was very similar to the smell of dahlias. This flower is as dark as the prince's character. It will suit this rude guy well. Adele also decided to pick a flower for Gina as well, since the girl also took very good care of her. On the way home, Adele heard the scent of muffins. In the gazebo that stood in the middle of the garden, there was a plate of cookies on the table. Adele walked over to the plate of cookies. It was so flavorful that the girl just couldn't pass it by. Nothing will happen if I just eat one. I'm sure no one will notice that one cookie is missing. Adele carefully picked up a cookie from the plate with her paws and quickly put it in her mouth. All right. I should hurry up already. I still have to take the sweets to Harmon-san. We should hurry or else the cookies will get cold, exclaimed Sharon. As Sharon approached the plate of cookies, she noticed that one piece was missing. We need to run out of here with all our paws. If she catches me, I'll be in trouble. Of that I'm sure. Adele thought to herself fearfully. The girl tried to run away, but slipped on the tiles and fell on her belly. You're the one who ate the cookies, Sharon hissed through her teeth. Shit, I've been spotted. I need to run now. Adele rose to her paws and hurriedly ran away. Sharon caught up to the fox in 2 leaps. Isn't this the fox that's been very close to His Highness lately? Why is she here? I think you should let her go, or else the Lord will punish you again. The maids who came with Sharon exclaimed, I have served the prince for years, yet he treats me worse than this fox. What has she done to deserve his love? But if he really likes this animal, then why is it here in the garden and not next to him? Sharon asked. Or maybe this fox just ran away from him. I mean, she's wild, so she can act rashly, muttered the maids. Let me tell you that sooner or later we will all be transferred away from His Highness because of this fox. I've already been assigned elsewhere. You may be next, said Sharon. In that case, we need to kill her, and if we do it right, no one will know about it, the maids exclaimed in one voice. Gina heard the fox's frightened cry. Stop screaming! Sharon hissed angrily and squeezed the fox's mouth tightly. Now quickly stop it! What are you doing? Shouted Gina, who came running over. When Gina approached the fox, it was unconscious. Lady Gina, this fox is very cute and fluffy. We couldn't contain our emotions. We really wanted to pet it. We did not expect that the fox would not allow us to touch her. She squealed in fright. Smiling innocently, Sharon said, I'm warning you girls that if you so much as lay a finger on that fox, and if it happens again, you will have to leave the prince's residence. In a steady, calm voice, Gina spoke. Stay here. I need to step away for a while. I promise you, I'll be back soon. Gina carried the vixen into the prince's room and laid her on the bed. What a pig! How can you only eat and sleep? Grumbled the prince, entering his room. Wake up! Let's go have dinner. The prince gently touched the fox's back, but it suddenly cried out in pain. Looking closely, the prince saw scratches on the animal's back. Now explain to me what happened and how you got the scratches on your back, demanded the prince. Adele's eyes filled with tears. She really wanted to complain to the prince, but she doubted he would understand her. I don't think the prince should get involved here. I can handle those maids myself. Otherwise, they will always look down on me. The girl thought to herself. The prince summoned his assistant Duan and ordered him to find the doctor. Also find out who that crybaby met with today. Someone dared to touch my things on my property. Apparently these people are sick of living. The doctor who came examined the fox and prescribed an herbal ointment. The doctor said that if the ointment was rubbed in regularly, the fox would recover after 3 days. Fortunately, the injuries on her back were not deep. The prince sat the vixen on his lap and gently oiled her scratches. You are my pet. If anyone tries to hurt you again, you must tell me about it. Do you understand me? Asked the fox prince. Adele looked at him angrily. What does he take her for? She is a strong girl. She can handle her abusers on her own. And why are you looking at me like that? Don't want me to help you. Are you sure you can handle yourself? The prince asked in a soft voice. He gently stroked the vixen's head. I want to assure you that I won't get in your way. You deal with your own problems, and I will only watch from the sidelines. Your Highness, I have done your bidding. I have learned everything. Witnesses claim that the vixen ran into Sharon this afternoon. She was most likely the one who harmed the animal. Would you like me to teach her a lesson? Duan asked. No, don't get involved yet, replied the prince. Keep an eye on that fox. See to it that no one touches her. If she gets injured again, you'll be the one punished. That silly fox wants revenge herself, not hiding behind a solid wall like me. But that doesn't matter either way. I won't let her create chaos. As soon as my help is needed, I will step in immediately. The prince decided to himself. As soon as Sharon entered the kitchen, a pile of stones immediately fell on her. Startled, the girl jumped out into the hallway. Hurry up and run out of here. Something strange is happening to the kitchen. There are probably ghosts in there, Sharon shouted to the maids. The situation is in my hands now, after all. Adele thought to herself and threw a couple more rocks at Sharon. In the evening, Adele brought the prince the black flower she had plucked earlier. Are you implying that I'm heartless? Asked the fox prince. Adele twirled her head from side to side. She just wanted to give him the flower. She wasn't implying anything. Apparently you don't know what kind of flower it is at all, so there's no point in me arguing with you, mumbled the prince. You're so smart that lately I've begun to doubt that you're a real vixen, whispered the prince. That's it! He's guessed I'm not a fox. What if he decides I'm a monster in an animal body? What if he decides to destroy me? We need to get out of here as soon as possible. Adele hurriedly ran as far away from the prince as possible. Without taking a couple steps, Adele was caught by the prince. And where are you going to run to? And how will you run with your short legs? What are you afraid of? Did you really think I would do you any harm? The prince held the vixen tightly to him. I don't care at all if you are a human or a demon, or maybe a divine fox. If you have entered my house, that means you belong to me now. Don't even think of ever running away from me. By the way, have you already noticed that there are more birthmarks on your body? Duan told me that these marks show the spiritual power of a beast. I don't think you're just any ordinary fox. You're clearly hiding some secret. The next day in the early morning, Adele went out for a walk. The girl decided that she would not only go on a diet, but also start exercising. The prince is right. She won't be able to run far on those short legs. It was time to get rid of the fat. Fox, where are you running so fast? You're already out of breath. Why don't you stop? Shouted Gina. No, I shouldn't stop. I need to run. I want to get rid of my fat and make my paws longer that way. I have to be in good shape so that in case of danger I have a chance to hide. Adele thought to herself. Suddenly the girl heard someone's frightened scream. She immediately rushed to help. Finding no one, Adele lay down next to a huge rock and fell asleep. She only woke up a few hours later. Damn, I totally forgot about Gina. She's probably looking for me. I need to get back as soon as possible. Adele thought to herself. You can't even keep track of a regular fox. You're completely useless, reprimanded the girl by the prince. Richard was angry that two grown men couldn't keep track of a fox. Can His Majesty give me another chance? I will surely find the fox and deliver it to you, exclaimed Gina, fell to her knees in front of the prince. She had been searching for the fox for hours now, but it was as if the fox had fallen through the ground. Your Highness, Gina isn't usually this careless. I'm sure she might have accidentally missed some place where the fox is hiding. Could you please give her another chance? Duan asked. If she was able to let the fox out of her sight, then she can't follow basic orders. She should be punished for that. Take her away and behead her, ordered the prince to his guards. Adele ran up to the prince and looked at him angrily. How could he order such a thing? Why behead a girl for being a vixen who wanted to escape on her own? It seems you have your own opinion on the matter. As I told you earlier, you are now my pet for the rest of your life. Who authorized you to run away from me? I will punish everyone associated with you if you run away," warned the prince. "Your Highness, since the fox has returned home, I think there is no need to punish Gina anymore, am I right?" asked Dwan. "Shut up! Your request alone is not enough for a pardon," exclaimed the prince. "Right now my situation is extremely dangerous, but I need to appease him somehow. I've been pampered a lot lately, and I almost forgot that the prince is a real demon," Adele thought to herself. The girl looked at the prince with puppy dog eyes. She began to mentally beg him to let Gina go. "Okay, I'll forgive the offense for the first time, but remember, I'm not always kind," said the prince, embarrassed under the vixen's gaze. "Your Highness, we thank you for your kindness." Gina and Dwan bowed low to the prince. The prince touched Adele and began to transfer his energy to her. He was extremely curious about what would happen to the fox if her spiritual energy became even more intense. I wonder if he knows that when he transmits his spiritual energy to me, he is risking his life? Why does he need to do that? Maybe he's just an idiot? Adele suggested. "No need to call me an idiot," mumbled the prince. "Damn, he can definitely read my mind," frightened Adele thought. "Not only can I hear you, but I can also speak to you thanks to my divine consciousness," mentally replied the girl to the prince. "How great that is! When I become very strong, I too will be able to talk to others with the help of my divine consciousness. I'll finally stop communicating with myself," rejoiced Adele. "Now that we're finally able to communicate with you using telepathy, I'll know when you're thinking silly things about me." The prince grabbed the vixen's cheek and gently rubbed it. "Ah, that's right. Now you know I'm a fox with high intelligence. Aren't you afraid that there's a dangerous demon lurking behind the guise of an ordinary animal?" Adele mentally asked the prince. "What makes you suddenly think I should be afraid of you? Do you think that with so little spiritual energy you are a threat to me?" asked the prince. "Indeed, there's nothing I can do at the moment," modestly admitted the girl. In the evening, before going to bed, Adele decided to visit Gina. She wanted to apologize for what had happened. "Lisa, what are you doing here? Did you decide to apologize to me?" Gina asked and gently stroked the fox's head. Adele bowed her head low, showing by doing so that she was apologizing and apologizing for Gina almost getting punished because of her. "Silly pumpkin. It wasn't your fault. I'm the one who didn't keep track of you. I admit my mistake. My job is to follow His Highness's orders clearly. He ordered me to protect you the other day, so you shouldn't blame yourself for what happened. And to be honest, I'm glad I had the honor of watching over you. It's a job I take great joy in doing. Don't worry, I hold no grudges against you." The next day, Prince Richard announced to Adele that they were going to the Imperial Palace. A palace banquet was being held there. Adele had never attended a palace banquet. The girl admired absolutely everything, and especially she was struck by the abundance of food on the tables. "Since when did Prince Richard have a pet fox?" asked Gabrielle to her racer. "Mistress, your servant knows nothing about it either. The only thing I've heard is that Prince Richard is a creepy misophobe," replied the maid. "If that were true, he would never leave a filthy animal in his house," remarked Gabrielle. Richard began to feed the fox with the food he had on the table. Adele noted to herself that all the food was very tasty. They were even tastier than the chicken legs served at the prince's residence. "If you like the food here so much, I can have the chef who prepared it sent to my residence. He will cook for you personally," suggested the prince. Adele doubted that the emperor would react calmly to having a cook taken away from him. Gabrielle approached Richard and offered him some drinks. The prince ignored the girl's words. "What's going on? Why didn't he even look at her? Is he even interested in girls? If he acts like this, he'll never get married," Adele thought to herself. Without waiting for a response from the prince, Gabrielle turned abruptly and walked back to her desk. It was obvious that this situation made her very upset. Look at that. She didn't even dignify His Highness's gaze. And why was she only approaching him? Did she really want to humiliate herself in front of him? Everyone knows that the prince is known for his cold temper. The ladies present at the banquet whispered, "Looks like I'm full again. I can't seem to go on a diet. Now that I'm full and satisfied, I have to go to the bathroom." Adele thought contentedly. Since the prince was busy talking to the nobles, Adele decided to find the ladies' room on her own. As Adele was returning from the restroom to the banquet hall, someone, rather rudely, lifted her up by the scruff of the neck. "We finally found you, you nasty vixen," Gabrielle exclaimed. "Found me? What was the point of finding me? But on the other hand, it's even great, since I couldn't find my way to the banquet hall for a long time. Now I hope you'll take me there." Adele thought to herself. "Well, take me gently in your arms and carry me to the banquet hall. My legs are already tired. I want to rest." "Why are you yanking with your paws? Tell me, what sorcery did you use on His Highness that he became so affectionate with you?" demanded Gabrielle, grabbing Adele's cheeks painfully. "What does any sorcery have to do with it? I just obey him and act soft and kind to him. The prince treats me well because I'm sweet and charming," thought Adele, proudly raising her chin. "Miss Gabrielle, you just pay attention to that vixen. She looks far too smug," the maid exclaimed. "I knew it. She is the truest witch. A normal animal can't behave like that," prompted Gabrielle. "Miss Gabrielle, but if she is a witch, we cannot allow her near His Highness. If she stays near him, I'm afraid something bad might happen," said the maid. Adele waved her paws fearfully. She didn't know how to explain to the girls that she wasn't a witch, but a very ordinary fox. "I'm not going to let that witch hurt Prince Richard, so I'm going to get rid of her right now." In an evil voice, Gabriel hissed, "Miss Gabriel, be extremely careful. If it really is a witch, she could hurt you." In an agitated voice, the maid shouted. Taking advantage of the moment, Adele struck Gabriel in the face with her clawed paw. Blood immediately appeared on the girl's cheek. With a shriek, Gabriel let go of the fox's grip. "How dare this animal scratch my face!" Gabriel exclaimed. "Strange. What's going on with my power? I didn't mean to scratch her face so badly. I just wanted to scare her by slapping her face lightly." Frightened, Adele thought to herself, "You're definitely going to die now. Don't expect any mercy from me." Gabriel hissed through her teeth. Gabriel stepped on the fox and began to forcefully squeeze her. Adele couldn't break free to run away. She didn't have the strength. The girl began to mentally call out to the prince for help. The prince who approached pushed Gabriel away from his vixen with his foot. "Your Highness, what are you doing here?" Gabriel wondered. "Dwan, I am ordering you to punish these women," said the prince to his aide. Picking up the vixen from the ground, he went to the banquet hall. "Why should I be punished? It's not like I did anything wrong," shouted Gabrielle. "You made the mistake of touching something that belongs to me," replied the prince. "Please don't punish that girl," Adele asked the prince in her mind. "Are you asking to spare the man who was going to kill you?" clarified Richard. He was surprised at the girl's request. "First of all, I'm no saint myself. I made mistakes in dealing with her as well. Secondly, we are now in the imperial palace, and it is absolutely unknown how the emperor will react to you punishing his subjects," replied Adele. "You mean you're worried about me?" asked Richard. "I wouldn't say I'm worried about you, but I'm adamant that I don't want to be indebted to you." After a little thought, Adele spoke up. "Fine, have it your way. I won't touch that girl," promised the prince. "I've locked those girls in the prison. What do you order me to do next?" Dwan asked, entering the prince's office. "Cut off both of their tongues. I don't want to hear them say nasty things about my fox again," ordered the prince. Adele woke up in the prince's room. She didn't remember how she found herself here. "Terrible, my neck really hurts. Maybe it's all because lately I've been practicing hard. I really hope that with time, my body will become even stronger." "Fox, you're finally awake. I heard about what happened yesterday. I was worried about you," exclaimed Gina, who entered the room. Seeing Gina, Adele immediately rushed into her arms. In the future, try to follow His Highness closely, for female jealousy can be extremely frightening. And especially beware of those who want to become Prince Richard's companion. They will stop at nothing for their goal. They won't spare you even though you are a common fox. By the way, you must be hungry. I'll go to the kitchen now and get you something tasty. Gina placed seafood rice on the table in front of the fox. Adele dropped the bowl of rice on the floor. What's wrong? You don't want to eat. But there's nothing else besides this rice. Just be patient for once. Next time you'll have your favorite chicken again, asked Gina. Look at this porridge. There's something wrong with it. It looks kind of weird, don't you notice that? Adele mentally turned to Gina. Lisa, it's a good thing you stopped me in time. No one knows what would have happened to you if you had tasted that rice. Gina squatted down next to the fox and stroked her head. Stick around. I'm going in after Dwayne. We should definitely tell him everything, said Gina and walked out of the dining room. A short while later, Adele heard footsteps approaching. Someone was cautiously sneaking towards the dining room. You nasty fox! How dare you ruin my plan! Shouted a young man who entered the dining room. Adele noted to herself that she had never seen him before. Wait, I just now realized that this is the very man who put poison in the food. Ran through the girl's mind. I'll deal with you first before I proceed with my plan, shouted the man and lunged at the fox. What on earth is going on right now? Why does every other person in this world want me dead? They've already wanted to strangle me twice, and today they also wanted to poison me. What have I done to them that they hate me so much? Adele thought fearfully. Adele managed to dodge the blow. The girl was helped by her morning gym class. How could such a fat and stupid creature ruin my magnificent plan? The man exclaimed and reached for the fox again. I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. How many times can you say mean things about me? Adele thought irritated and directed her spiritual energy at the man. With a loud exclamation, the man flew aside. He smashed the dish cabinet with his body and fell to the floor with a clatter. Taking advantage of the moment, Adele jumped out of the dining room. Seeing Gina and Dwayne, Adele started calling out for them to follow her. Upon entering the dining room, Gina and Dwayne saw broken furniture and broken dishes. The man managed to get away. Fox, I hope you were able to see the poisoner. If there's an assassin walking around freely in the prince's residence, it's a pretty serious problem, Dwan exclaimed. Even if the fox saw the poisoner, how does that help us? What do we do now? How are we going to find the culprit? Will the fox be able to describe that person to us? Asked Gina. Don't just stand there. Follow me. Adele jumped from Gina's arms and sprinted out of the dining room. The girl hoped Gina and Dwan would think of following her. Adele took a paintbrush in her paws and began to draw the face of the poisoner on a piece of paper. Since she was extremely uncomfortable drawing with her paws, the drawing came out rather crooked. The drawing turned out quite funny, and I'm pretty sure that I've never seen such an ugly person before. Oh my God, I've never laughed for so long. I'm going to die of laughter soon. Laughing merrily, Dwan said, What are you guys doing? Asked the prince in a disgruntled tone. Just recently, your fox discovered a poisoner inside the residence. She drew a portrait of the culprit. Dwan held out the fox's drawing to the prince. The prince began to scrutinize the portrait. After a couple seconds, a cheerful smile also appeared on his face. What kind of freak is this? Did the criminal really look like that? Asked the prince. What on earth is going on? Why are they all laughing from my drawing? I know how to draw. I took a drawing course a few years ago. Do they even know how uncomfortable it is to draw with your paws? Adele thought to herself. Well, don't feel bad. Just describe the perpetrator in your own words, asked Richard of the Fox. It was a rather scary-looking man. He had pointed eyes, a sharp nose, and thin lips. I would even call him ugly. He also didn't look like someone who works in the residence. Narrated Adele. The prince ordered Gina and Dwan to find a person with pointed eyes, sharp nose, and thin lips in the residence. Suddenly, Adele's stomach rumbled. The girl remembered that she hadn't eaten anything since morning. Well, since you're hungry, come on, I'll feed you. The prince rose from his seat and headed for the door. Suddenly, the door swung open with a clatter. The poisoner burst into the room. This time, he held a sharp dagger in his hand. Look at that. It's the morning poisoner. I'd like to point out that he looks like your portrait. You have a talent for drawing. The prince spoke in a calm voice. You'll give me compliments later. Deal with him first. Adele hurriedly hid behind the prince's back. I would like to point out that you are the first mercenary who managed to sneak into my residence, said the prince. Stop talking nonsense. Prepare for the fact that right now I will take your life, shouted the criminal and lunged at the prince. The prince turned out to be quite fast. He dodged a new blow each time. And how do you want to take my life with your pathetic martial arts skills? Asked Richard to the criminal. After a while, Richard got tired of dodging the dagger. Choosing a moment, he punched the criminal in the face with his fist. After flying a couple of meters, he fell on his back. Well, I told you were too weak. You fell with one punch. Why are you doing this? You're already unlucky in life. You were born with an ugly face, mumbled the prince, looking at the mercenary. Your Majesty, we arrived too late, and we deserve to die for it, exclaimed the guards, who burst into the room. Clean up this mess and then get out of here yourself, ordered the prince. The guards grabbed the mercenary by the arms and dragged him into the dungeon. Prince, answer me. This isn't the first person who wanted to kill you, right? Asked Adele. Yes, I've been tried to be killed several times before. This is nothing new to me, admitted the prince. But aren't you scared? Inquired Adele. Richard answered her that he used to be afraid, but now he wasn't. I used to think he was a winner in life. I had no idea he was in danger almost every day. Adele felt sorry for the prince. She wouldn't wish such a fate on anyone. Crybaby is by my side every day. What if one day a mercenary chooses her as his target and I'm not around? Will she be able to save herself? The prince thought to himself. Richard decided that every morning he would infuse the fox with his energy so that she would be able to fight back in the event of an attack. He wanted her to become a strong spiritual fox. Going out into the garden, Adele began to test her spiritual energy. She wanted to know the limits of her power. Noticing the prince, Adele snapped out of her seat and threw herself on his chest. The girl boasted that her spiritual energy was filled to the max. Well, since you are so strong, I should reward you with a delicious meal, said the prince. Adele had planned to fill her stomach with all sorts of flavorful, delicious food, but all she got was an inedible piece of meat. Twisting the meat in her short legs, the girl refused to eat it. Adele noticed that the prince was offended by something. With an angry snort, he walked out of the dining room. Fox, this dish was prepared by His Highness. He really wanted to please you with something delicious, Gina said in a quiet voice. His Highness doesn't have much experience in cooking, but he tried. He spent all day preparing this dish. I would like to point out that His Majesty never openly shows his good side, but I hope you can see how much he does for you. I am a terrible person. The prince tried his best for me, and I didn't appreciate him. I need to apologize to him right away. Adele thought to herself and ran after the prince. Adele found the prince in his office. He was studying some notes. Adele climbed onto the prince's desk. That dish wasn't so bad. I just don't know how to keep my mouth shut. I shouldn't have behaved like that in the dining room. I should have at least tasted the meat you cooked, mumbled Adele in an apologetic tone. The prince rose from the table and defiantly turned away from the fox. Please give me a chance to make up for this evening. Adele ran up to the prince's feet and began to rub against them like a cat. How can you ever make up for anything? Everything around you, including you, is my property, grumbled the prince. I can cook something nice for dinner. How would you feel about that? Asked Adele. Dwayne noticed that the prince, for over half an hour now, had been standing near the closed kitchen door. Gina, do you happen to know what His Highness is doing? Asked Duan to the maid. I heard that the fox has decided to cook for the Lord. He's afraid it might set the kitchen on fire, so he's standing guard, explained Gina. You mean to say that, among other things, the fox can cook? Duan clarified. Phew, I'm finally done. It's still awkward to cook in a fox's body after all, grumbled Adele. The girl held out a plate of rice to the prince. As a human, Adele often cooked rice with added vegetables and seafood. One could say it was her crowning dish. The prince scooped up some rice and sent it into his mouth. "So is it good? Do you like it?" Adele was eager to know the prince's opinion about her cooking skills. "I had no idea that such a simple combination of foods could be so delicious," the prince admitted. Adele involuntarily remembered her mother. This was her favorite dish. "Mom, I would so much like to eat whatever you make at least once more." Adele thought wistfully. "Why are you so upset? Did something happen?" asked the prince. The girl answered him that everything was fine. She was just tired, that's why she looks like that. "You are my pet. You shouldn't keep secrets from me. Tell me what's going on," asked the prince, taking the vixen in his arms. "Nothing is going on. I'm just homesick," Adele admitted, and wiped the tears streaming down her cheeks. What a weak, lonely, spiritual fox. She doesn't even have her relatives around her, thought the prince. He asked the fox not to get upset and sad over nothing. Richard promised that he would always be by her side. "But what happens if you ever find another pet? Suddenly there will be an animal cuter than me in your life?" Adele asked. "If you're so worried about your role as a pet, hurry up and gain spiritual strength and take on human form. That way it will be harder for me to leave you," replied the prince. Adele suddenly realized that it had been over a month since she had stepped outside the palace. The girl asked the prince for permission to go outside the residence. "You want to go outside?" clarified the prince. "I'm practicing every day to increase my spiritual power level, but I'm still very bored. I feel like walking somewhere and getting some fresh air." Adele replied, "I think you can go outside the residence, but you have to promise me something. I won't tell you this now. I'll tell you when the time is right." After thinking for a bit, the prince said. The prince decided to personally carry the fox outside his residence. Adele could hear the girls sighing and oohing in admiration as they caught sight of the prince. He's quite an attractive man after all, and attracts the eyes of the opposite sex, Adele remarked to herself. Adele noticed that one of the market stalls was selling sugar balls. The girl asked the prince if he could buy her one balloon. "I will definitely buy you a sugar ball if you kiss me on the cheek at least once," replied the prince. "Kiss on the cheek?" Adele exclaimed. "Well, since you don't want a kiss, then you don't need sugar balls either," said the prince. "It's just a normal kiss. It's unlikely to have any consequences." Adele thought and licked the prince's cheek. Richard kept his promise. He bought the girl a whole handful of sugar balls. "Please accept my sachet." A girl walked up to the prince and held out a small package. Adele already knew that in this world, people used sachets to declare their love for each other. Most likely the prince liked this girl very much. "Go away, I don't need anything from you," answered the girl the prince in a completely emotionless voice. "I don't think you have any girl skills at all," grumbled Adele. "Would you like me to take that girl's gift from her?" clarified the prince. "You shouldn't have blown her off like that. I mean, you hurt her little heart," replied Adele. "What's in it for me if she's sad? Why should I worry about her feelings and emotions?" asked the prince. In the market square, Adele noticed a pretty girl. She was wearing a beautiful dress of soft pink color. "Prince, look at this beauty!" Adele exclaimed. "I don't want to," said the prince and took his eyes off the girl. Adele hoped that Richard would find a date, and then she could linger at the prince's residence. Adele wanted to stay as the prince's pet, nothing more. Adele jumped off the prince's arms and ran towards the girl. Running up to the girl, Adele grabbed her by the hem of her dress. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" In a surprised voice, the girl asked. "I have come to match you with a rich man. Living near him, you will never need food or clothing. You will always have the most beautiful jewelry." Adele mentally turned to the girl. "Donovan!" Suddenly the girl shouted and ran to the dark-haired boy. "I embroidered this sachet especially for you." The girl held out a beautifully embroidered bundle to the guy. "I've already told you several times to get off my back with your confessions. Don't bother me anymore. I've only spent one night with you. Stop thinking I'm going to marry you after that," Donovan said in an irritated tone. Something has gotten me into a rather unpleasant story. It flashed through Adele's mind. You just think about who you are and who I am. A man of my status can't take someone like you as a wife. I would not be understood by my family, said Donovan and walked away. I knew he would never love me, mumbled the girl. It's best not to mess with the likes of him. You'll be better off if you find a more suitable man. Adele gently stroked the girl's head with her paw. Young lady, would you mind giving me my fox back? Asked the prince, who approached. And what can you do to prove that it is your fox? Asked the girl. She is mine, and I can easily prove it. If you put her on the ground, she will surely come to my arms, said the prince. Adele jumped out of the girl's arms and jumped on the prince's chest. Looks like this really is your pet. Well, I won't bother you, mumbled the girl. Prince, you shouldn't let this girl go. You have a duty to go after her. She just had her heart broken. I think you should help her. On top of that, she's cute. Why don't you just meet her? Adele exclaimed. Winona, where did you disappear to? Do you know how many guests have been asking me about you? Quickly go to the stage. I'm already there waiting for your performance, exclaimed the hostess of the brothel. Yes, of course, Winona replied and hurried towards the stage. Your Highness, Prince Richard. I never thought I would ever get to see you here, the brothel owner muttered in a surprised voice. And what are you doing here? Are you following me? Winona asked the prince. The road is very wide. What makes you think I can follow you? Question for question, the prince answered. Your Highness, tonight is the performance of our band. Since you are already here, why don't you watch it? The brothel owner asked. Oh, that's great! I'd love to see the performance, Adele enthused. After I picked up that fox, my sense of shame is gone. The prince thought to himself and agreed to watch the performance. The son of the Minister of War, Donovan, will be joining us today. You will also be staying with us. Our brothel is definitely the best in this country. The owner of the brothel was overjoyed. The woman led the prince to the best seats. Who is this idiot who dares to take my place? Old woman Cecilia, are you looking down on my father, the Minister of War? Do you think it's okay to treat me this way? Donovan exclaimed. You are the truest rascal. You can't watch Winona's performance. You are not worthy of it, screamed Adele. You gave away the seats that belonged to me to some idiot and a stupid fox? It seems to me that you want your brothel shut down and as soon as possible. Donovan continued to shout. What did you just say about my fox? In an irritated tone, the prince clarified. Prince Richard, Donovan marveled. Are you saying I'm not worthy of this place and my fox is stupid? Crossing his arms over his chest, the prince asked. If those two get into an argument now, my business will be over. The brothel mistress thought fearfully. Your Highness, you are an extremely honorable and deeply respected person. Surely you are worthy of this place. I just didn't expect to see you in this place. If I have offended you in any way, I apologize, said Donovan. So you think I am not fit to visit such places? What makes you think so? Asked the prince. I said a foolish thing. Forgive me for my words, mumbled Donovan. Still, the prince knows how to make idiots out of people. He's a true professional in that regard. I feel much better now. Adele thought to herself and laughed out loud. Winona came on stage and danced. Adele was enthralled by Winona's dance. The dancer's movements were feminine and graceful. You're a man? How can you be so entranced by a girl? Marveled the prince. Who said I'm a man? I'm a girl, objected Adele. And how can you prove you are a girl? Asked the prince. Why do I have to prove anything? And I don't like girls. I prefer guys. I only wanted to support Winona, nothing more. There's no need to talk down to me. Offended, the girl replied. When Winona finished her dance, those present in the hall shouted enthusiastically. Although everyone enjoyed her dance, still she doesn't look happy. There's still some problem eating her up, Adele remarked. Suddenly Winona got tangled in the hem of her dress and started to fall. The girl screamed fearfully. Prince jumped on the stage and picked up the falling girl. Thank you, Your Highness, mumbled Winona. And look how quick and agile our Prince Richard is. He is very handsome after all, and Winona is just as beautiful as he is. They look very well together. The audience whispered. People are right. These two are perfect for each other, Adele thought to herself. After bowing out, the prince went home. The owner of the brothel asked him to come to them more often. What's wrong? You don't seem happy after the show is over. Did you not like something? Asked the prince to his vixen. Nothing happened. Everything is fine, replied Adele. She thought that if the prince found a mate, she would feel better, but for some reason when she saw the prince next to Winona, she got a painful ringing in her chest. What if he met a girl and forgot about her? What then? It would be nice if the one he held in his arms was me. I don't know what god to pray to make my wish come true. What am I thinking right now, though? I mean, I wanted to get my human body back and go back to my world, Adele reminded herself. The next day, Gina announced that the emperor was summoning the prince and his fox to the palace. Greetings, your majesty, exclaimed Richard as he entered the emperor's study. I heard that the calm and organized you went to a brothel yesterday. So, were you able to find a suitable lady for you there? Asked the emperor to the prince. I didn't think that the ever-busy emperor would find time to care about the rumors surrounding me. Frankly, I'm surprised at this display of dementia, replied the prince. I'm just kidding. No need to take offense at me. You're probably wondering why I invited you to the palace. I heard the other day that you took a little fox into your home. My musician wrote a song called Spiritual Fox, and I want you to hear it, said the emperor. The emperor's musician came out. He gently ran his fingers over the strings of the harp. A pleasant music started to play. Prince, have you noticed that this man's music is filled with spiritual energy? Adele exclaimed. So, Prince Richard, what do you think of this song? Asked the emperor. The prince noted that the song was quite sweet and pleasant to listen to. There is actually a story behind the song with the same title. I was wondering if you've heard the story of the spirit foxes before. It tells that such foxes are the pets of the gods. The musician began to tell the story. According to the legends, spirit foxes can understand human speech and take on human form. Because they are so special, many people fought for the right to own them. Because of the warriors, many foxes died, causing their extinction. Also, legends say that if you drink the blood of an imperial spirit fox, you can gain immortality. That's another reason why spirit foxes are so valuable. That's it. I'm finished. If they find out that I belong to the Imperial Spirit Clan, they will immediately kill me. Adele was scared. Scared? Asked the prince as they rode in the carriage home. Of course I'm scared. They could drink my blood and use my skin for a coat collar, exclaimed Adele. Well, since you're so afraid, then you need to work harder at getting your human body back. When you become human, then no one will think about the fact that you were once a fox, said the prince. For a whole month, Adele spent 8 hours every day to increase her spiritual power. What does the crybaby do at the moment? Asked the prince to Gina. The maid answered him that Adele was taking a bath after her workout. Bring me some chicken, I'll go check on her, said the prince and got up from behind his desk. When the prince entered the bathroom, he froze in surprise. Adele Everything was already able to make progress in her training. Crybaby, is that you? Clarified the prince. Yes, your highnesses, it is me. And why did you come here? Asked Adele. I decided to check on you and brought you your favorite chicken legs, replied the prince. Seeing the chicken legs, Adele immediately pounced on them. Here, take these. Hurry up and put these on. The prince held out a robe to the girl. Prince, what do you think of my appearance? Do I look nice? Adele asked. Ugly, briefly replied the prince. There you go, I knew it. I should have gone on a diet sooner, Adele exclaimed. Tears spurted from the girl's eyes. Just kidding, you look lovely. You keep crying all the time, even though you've transformed into a human. I was right to call you a crybaby after all. The prince wiped the tears from the girl's face. I am not a crybaby, and I have a name. My name is Adele. Okay, from now on I will call you by your name, said the prince and stroked the girl's head. Hiding her fox ears, Adele went to the center of town. It had been a long time since she had walked down the street in the guise of a human. The surroundings seemed unfamiliar and surprising to her. The girl noted to herself that it was much more comfortable to be human. The prince decided to give Adele a small gift. He bought a jade necklace and some silver jewelry for her. "Take this necklace. It contains spiritual power." The prince held out the jade necklace to the girl. Adele thanked him for the gifts. "Your husband has wonderful taste after all," shouted the salesman. "How it pisses me off when people get it wrong. Let's move on. I don't want to stay here anymore," grumbled Adele. Since Adele couldn't stay in human form for a long time yet, she turned back into a fox. Taking the girl in his arms, the prince hurried home. "You need to be extremely careful. If anyone sees your transformation, they will immediately catch you. People will realize that you are an imperial spirit fox. If they catch you, they will immediately kill you," warned the prince. "Let me help you control your power so you won't turn into a fox so suddenly again." The prince sat the fox in front of him and began to transfer his energy to it. After a few minutes, Adele became human again. "I'm all wrong. I can't call myself human, and I'm no longer a fox. If this keeps up, no one will want to marry me," Adele complained, snuggling up to the prince. The prince ordered Gina to bring him a woman's dress and fill the bathtub. He picked Adele up in his arms and carried her into the bathroom. "Yes, Your Highness," said Gina, bowing her head. After a few seconds, it finally reached Gina that the prince was carrying some girl into the house in his arms. Who is she? Why is the prince treating her well? After taking the clothes from Gina's hands, the prince ordered her to leave. Afterward, he walked over to Adele and gave her a clean dress. "Are you hungry? I can bring you something to eat," said the prince. "Of course I'm hungry. I would love to eat a chicken leg right now," exclaimed Adele. "Good. Then hurry up and change your clothes. I'll bring you some food right now," said the prince and walked out of the bathroom. After changing into her dress, Adele suddenly felt the presence of a large amount of spiritual energy. It was only at the last split second that Adele managed to dodge the dagger strike. Slipping on the edge of the bathtub, the girl fell into the water. Several men in black robes entered the room. "Who are you and what do you want with me?" asked the girl to the mercenaries. "First, we came to eliminate Prince Richard, but now we have to kill you as well. We will deal with you and then trap the prince," replied the leader of the mercenaries. "I won't let you carry out your plan," shouted Adele and took a fighting stance. The mercenaries grouped together and rushed at the girl. Applying her spiritual energy, Adele dealt with the mercenaries in a matter of seconds. "No, you guys are pretty weak. You're only masters of talking. You're not capable of much more than that," the girl summarized. Suddenly, a mercenary appeared in front of Adele and stuck a dagger in her stomach. With a gasp, the girl fell on her back. "No, I don't want to die like this." Adele's mind raced. As the prince approached the bathroom, he heard a strong odor of blood. Entering the bathroom, Richard saw the dead mercenaries and a wounded Adele. "Wake up, I beg you," asked the prince, taking Adele in his arms. Richard summoned Gina and Dwan and ordered them to find the best doctor in the Empire. "Since we don't know who is behind the attack, I think we need to be extremely careful. We can't have information leaked to the Imperial Palace," said Gina. "Your Highness, the wound is shallow, just it is soaked in poison. Your fox can be saved, but it will take time. You will also have to prepare an ointment. It is based on an ingredient that is difficult to obtain." The doctor summarized after examining Adele. "And what ingredient is needed?" the prince inquired. "To prepare the ointment, I will need snow lotus. It grows on the tops of high mountains and is very rare. I know that the emperor has one such flower," replied the doctor. "Gina, take care of the crybaby. I urgently need to go to the palace," said the prince and ordered a horse to be prepared for him. "Your Highness, it's already deep into the night, so I'm worried about you. If you go to the palace at a time like this, you might get into trouble," Dwan exclaimed. "For the sake of saving my vixen, I'm even willing to descend into hell. If I know that the snow lotus is in the Imperial Palace, then I must get it. I can't sit around and wait for the moment it dies," replied the prince to his aide. Richard jumped on his horse and rode to the imperial palace. When the guards of the imperial palace saw the traveler, they blocked his way. "Make way!" shouted the prince. "The palace is already closed, and no one can get in, not even you, your highness Prince Richard," exclaimed one of the guards. Swinging his horse over the guards, Richard rushed into the palace. Hearing the commotion, the emperor went out into the courtyard to see with his own eyes what had happened. "Prince Richard, you have appeared in my palace in the middle of the night. What did you do that for?" asked the emperor to Richard. "I came here to ask for one item. I want a snow lotus from the tops of the mountains," replied Richard. "A snow lotus? Only His Majesty is allowed to use it. You cannot touch it even though you are a prince," the emperor's counselor exclaimed. The emperor raised his hand, urging the advisor to be silent. "And why do you need the snow lotus? Are you poisoned?" asked the emperor. "I am fine. Poisoned my fox," replied the prince. "You want me to give such a precious plant to some beast?" With surprise in his voice, the emperor clarified. "She is not a beast. She is my fox." Richard drew his sword from its sheath and put it to the emperor's neck. "All right, since you value your fox so much, I'll give you the snow lotus," said the emperor, and ordered his subordinates to bring the flower. Taking the flower, Richard jumped on his horse again and rushed to his residence. "Prince Richard has been looking down on everyone lately. We'll have to teach him a lesson," mumbled the emperor. "You've already treated her wound with an ointment containing snow lotus, but she still hasn't regained consciousness. When will she wake up?" Richard asked the doctor. Several days had passed, but Adele was still unconscious. "I don't know the answer to that question. I did everything right. She should have regained consciousness by now. Maybe this vixen has a special condition?" "I don't know that," answered the doctor, kneeling down in front of the prince. "Stop talking nonsense. Your head will fly off your shoulders if she doesn't wake up now," shouted Richard. "Why is it so noisy in here?" whispered Adele, opening her eyes. "You're finally awake. How are you feeling? Are you in any pain?" exclaimed the prince. "I don't hurt anything, but I feel very dirty, so I want to take a bath," replied Adele. "It's very rare for you to want a bath." "Apparently you do feel much better," noted Richard. "Your Highness, let me take the fox to the bath. You haven't rested the last few days. You need to get some sleep," said Gina, walking over. "All right, just bring her back after her bath. Remember her body carefully and make sure she doesn't run off anywhere," asked the prince. "Your Highness, I have something to report to you." Duan entered the room and bowed before the prince. "A few days ago, when you, Your Highness, invaded the palace, rumors ran through the streets that the emperor is a puppet that obeys you. If those rumors reach the imperial palace, it might affect your relationship with the emperor." "Don't think about it. It's all small things," soothed the prince to his aide. "What arrogant fools they are! How dare they call me, the emperor, a puppet of the prince?" shouted the emperor and swept the items lying on his desk off his desk. Edgar, the musician, and Megan, the minister's daughter, entered the emperor's office. "What are you doing here?" asked the emperor to the entrance. "Your Majesty, I heard the rumors that have been going around about you. I have a plan to put Prince Richard in his place," said Megan. Late at night, the prince took Adele with him and climbed up on the roof of his house. He liked watching the night sky. It calmed him down. "Prince, you do know that it was you that the mercenaries came for that day, right?" Adele asked. The prince replied that he was aware of what was going on, and he guessed who sent those men. "I promise you that when I am even stronger, I will protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you," Adele exclaimed. "You'd better take care of yourself. You don't have to worry about me. I have the power to protect myself. You have to work hard and improve yourself. Then you'll be safe," replied the prince. "So what should I choose? Would I be better suited for a sword or a spear?" asked Adele with her arms at her sides. "Do you really want to learn martial arts? But it's not as easy as it might seem at first glance," warned the prince. "You said yourself that I constantly need to develop and improve. If I master a spear or a sword, then the next time the mercenaries come, I'll be able to fight back," Adele exclaimed. "All right. Since you insist, we'll start your training. first you need to choose a weapon that you can fight with. After thinking for a bit, the prince agreed. But I don't know what I should choose. The spear is too long for me, and the sword is too short. And if you fight carelessly, you can hurt yourself with the sword. After thinking about it for a while, I decided that a whip would be perfect for me, said Adele. You may know that my mother is a princess of another country. In her land, spears and whips are honored. They are her most favorite weapons. The prince held out a small whip to the girl. You mean to say that this is your mother's weapon? Are you sure I can take it? Adele clarified. Suddenly, footsteps were heard. Adele immediately turned into a fox. Your Highness, I've done everything you asked, said Gina, who approached. You're going somewhere? What about our training? Asked Adele. Come with me, I'll show you the new house, said the prince to the girl. The prince brought Adele to his new house. He explained that this house was built in the form of a maze. None of the mercenaries would be able to get into it. I want you to live in this house in the future. The prince squatted down next to the vixen and stroked her head. Adele decided to tell the prince the whole truth about herself. There was no point in hiding anything anymore. I never thought there was another world, mumbled the prince after Adele finished her story. That's why I can't stay here. I need to find a way home. My family is still waiting for me. I can't stay in this world. Since I don't want to deceive you, I had to tell you my secret, said Adele. Also, I will have one small request for you. Take me somewhere. I'm sick of being in your residence. I want to see the city. I'm dying of boredom. Richard decided to take Adele to a small, home-cooked restaurant. The chicken there was delicious. In the restaurant, Adele could constantly hear the whispers of the diners. Everyone was discussing the prince's behavior. My nephew saw everything with his own eyes. He told me that the prince has a pet fox. The prince stormed into the emperor's palace and put a sword to the emperor's neck and demanded a snow lotus from him, narrated one of the visitors. It is said that the emperor was frightened to the point that he immediately gave up the flower. To me, threatening the emperor for the sake of some beast is sheer barbarism. So Prince Richard was the one who saved my life, Adele thought to herself. And they also say that it was the emperor who sent those hired assassins to the prince's house to finish him off. But for some reason, the assassins couldn't kill the prince. They only poisoned the fox. The visitor continued to narrate. Enough! Shouted Prince Richard and slapped his palm on the table. He ordered his guards to cut off the tongues of everyone in the restaurant. The next day, Prince Richard asked Adele if she would keep him company at the emperor's soiree. Will I have to turn into a fox? Asked Adele. The girl felt sorry for the prince. She didn't expect him to compete with the emperor for the throne. Adele guessed that this competition would surely end with the death of one of its participants. The prince allowed Adele to remain in human form. He invited the maids to help the girl change her clothes. Looking in the mirror, Adele froze in surprise. She had never seen herself with native makeup on her face. Miss, this is extremely popular makeup. Absolutely every girl wears it, the maid assured her. Adele decided to put on her own makeup. She threw the maids out of her room with a shout. I'm going to the emperor's palace today, and I've been painted like an old porcelain doll. My appearance is sure to frighten the emperor and his servants. Adele grumbled as she unraveled her hair. Adele decided not to wear much makeup. She only put lipstick on her lips and brushed her hair. I need to get everything ready for your appearance at the palace, so don't leave the carriage without my permission, said the prince as they pulled up to the imperial palace. What is it again? How long can I sit in this carriage? My whole body is already stiff, Adele muttered irritably. No, I won't sit in this tiresome carriage anymore. The imperial palace looks absolutely marvelous. I have to look my best here. Adele got out of the carriage and headed towards the imperial garden. After a few minutes, Adele realized that she was lost. At the back of the garden, the girl saw a gazebo. There was a guy and a girl talking animatedly about something. Adele decided to approach them to find out how to get to the palace. I feel like I've seen these people somewhere before. Their faces look familiar to me. Wait. I remember them. These are the people who stood next to the emperor last time. Most likely, these people are extremely dangerous, so I shouldn't get caught by them. I have to get out of here and as soon as possible. Adele accidentally stepped on a dry branch. A loud crunching sound was heard. "Who's there?" shouted Edgar the musician. "It's the end. I'm doomed. I'm pretty sure these people are the Emperor's cronies, and they blindly follow all his orders. I saw them together, and they may want to get rid of me as a witness. What should I do now?" Adele began to think of a plan of retreat. "Forgive me. I got lost in this garden. I didn't mean to disturb your conversation," said Adele, stepping out from behind the bushes. "My name is Edgar. I am His Majesty's personal musician. Is this your first visit to the palace? Is that why you are lost?" "Yes, you are right. This is my first time. I have never been to the Imperial Palace before," Adele replied. "This girl is definitely beautiful, and she knows what guys like. I'm afraid that she is capable of stealing absolutely every man's heart. I can't let her meet the Emperor," Megan thought to herself. "Thank you for showing me the way. I need to go as my teacher is most likely already looking for me," said Adele and bowed low. "Let me walk you out," offered Edgar. Since refusing might have seemed rather strange, Adele had to agree. Megan beckoned to her assistant. "Go and find out this girl's identity. I won't give her even a chance to approach the Emperor." "You can leave me here. I'll take it from here," said Adele to Edgar. She knew that the prince was unlikely to like the fact that she was accompanied by a strange man. "I have absolutely no trouble escorting you. I will only be relieved after you enter the Imperial Palace. I'm afraid you'll get lost again," replied Edgar. "And what are you doing here?" asked a suddenly appearing Richard. "How did you end up here with this man?" The prince grabbed Adele's arm. "Your Highness, this lady has come to the Imperial Palace to find her teacher. Can you show her some favor?" Edgar asked the prince. "How can an ordinary musician tell me what to do? Are you sick of living?" asked the prince in an irritated tone. "I am His Majesty's personal musician. I think it would be wrong for Prince Richard to take my life right here." Bowing low to the prince, muttered Edgar. "Are you sure about that?" exclaimed the prince, grabbing the musician by the throat. "Prince, don't do him any harm. I got lost walking in the garden. This man was just showing me the way." Adele rushed to intervene in the situation. She was afraid that the prince would strangle the Emperor's musician. Richard shoved the musician away from him. "I advise you not to even go near that girl next time. If I see you anywhere near her, you will not be well," warned the prince. The prince took Adele's hand and led the way. "Please don't be angry. I know what I did was wrong, and I promise you it won't happen again," Adele exclaimed. Word went around the palace that Prince Richard had arrived with a bewitching lady. "I could not lose sight of that. I came to see your companion," said General Eugene Wong, who approached the prince. Noticing Adele, the general gaped his mouth in surprise. Adele remembered the general and knew that because of him, Prince Richard was considered evil and cruel. The girl decided to stay as far away from the general as possible because he could cause trouble. Adele already had plans for the future. She didn't want the general to get in her way.